Hello chess family, it's me National Master, Jesse James, and today we're taking a look at another instructive chess miniature, this time between Samisch and Nimzowitsch. In this game, well, it's not a good thing to get in ZUGZWANG, and well, White's going to be getting into this very unfortunately. Let's take a look and see how Nimzowitsch does this in the middle game of all places. Here we go. We're going to go and start off with d4, knight f6, c4, e6. And knight f3 and b6. Here we're looking at the Queen's Indian. Looks like White was trying to be playing this Catalan, but Black says they want to go ahead and go this route, so this is the opening we got now. White goes ahead and plays pawn g3, bishop to b7, bishop g2, and bishop e7. Typically, you will look at a lot of games of bishop b4 check, which are kind of like Bogo kind of Indians ideas. But the main kind of idea to really know in this lines is that it's really about the control of the e4 square. If I can get in e4, e5, then they're going to be having a very good position of not just winning and taking the whole game away. That being said, it's very much harder than you would think. You can see Black already has very good control over e4 here, and well, you're going to see White trying to get control over it with knight c3, and well, if Black really wants to, they can go ahead and play knight to e4 here right away. One of the ideas being is we're going to remove one of their defenders, which is one of their best ones. Here Black just goes ahead and castles, but like I said, knight e4 is definitely a move you can play here to get a good game. In fact, it's one of the top moves in the position, and well, yeah, if you take, you know, Black's very happy to try and trade off this piece, and well, White doesn't really want to give up their good bishop for this. Plus, Black always has d5 in reserves to make sure that e4 will not get in so easily. But anyways, in the game, Black goes ahead and keeps it safe with castles over here. White goes ahead and castles, and pawn to d5, again saying you're just not getting the e4 square. White goes ahead and plays the top move here, knight to e5. Black plays a very solid structure, pawn c6. I like to do this myself sometimes, mostly because I don't know the theory too well. And here, well, White makes a bad move here and plays c takes d5. Well, as you're going to see in this game, this does not give White any advantage at all. So moves, if you are looking to get the advantage, is going to be something like pawn to e4, which is very well known. I'll play against this move quite a bit. And also another good move here that scores well is queen to a4. These are moves that you would want to try if you're trying to get that advantage. Alright, with that being said, in the game, c6 was played and pawn takes on d5. How do we take back? Of course, let's take back toward the center. C takes d5, and here White really is just struggling to find a plan here. White goes ahead and plays bishop to f4. I'm not too sure what this bishop's doing here, although I'm pretty sure White said that in their head. I don't know what this bishop's doing here. Black plays a nice move, pawn to a6. This could have been the plan of White, maybe looking to play like knight b5 and have control over some squares here, but again, this is just too slow here, and Black equalizes quite fast. Pawn to a6, rook to c1, pawn to b5. You can see that Black has some very nice expansion over here, and this knight just has nowhere to move anymore. Queen b3, this move actually does have a little bit of zest to it, as it threatens the pawn to a4, but even if a4 does get played, you can just play the simple move pawn to b4, and you're going to be closing the position. Here the bishop is defending. Alright, what do we play now? It's Black to move. Oh, there's two good moves here. Well, Nimzowitsch goes ahead and plays knight to c6, and here again a mistake from Samisch right here. He goes ahead and plays knight takes on c6. Now this was the only time in the game where he could have tried to get the advantage here by looking at some really weird tactics. With that being said, it is not so easy. Here he has to go ahead and go for this crazy looking move. Oof. Knight to takes on d5. And here Black has a lot of different ways to respond, but none of them really do very well. The idea being is we're just opening up for a second attacker on the c6 knight. And yeah, this just does not work out. Here knight takes d5. Knight takes on c6, bishop takes c6, and then rook takes c6. You might be asking yourself, why do you do this if this wins a pawn? Well, it wins a pawn, but it doesn't kind of win the pawn. Here, after knight takes on f4, g takes on f4, we have these crazy lines with queen takes d4 here. So I can definitely understand why Samisch did not want to go into this. This is the only way to try to play for the advantage, but he didn't want to get into something so crazy like this. Not like the regular game was so good to begin with. So after this, he just played the simple knight takes e6, bishop takes e6, and now there's no good place for the knight to move for any kind of discovery threats. Alright, well, it's White's move, and well, Samisch goes ahead and plays pawn to h3, and now the bind starts. Here you're going to see Nimzowitsch go ahead and improve every one of his pieces nice and slow. Again, even the worst plan is the best plan you can do, right? You got to plan ahead for something. If you just kind of wander around not looking for anything, you will get exactly that. Nothing. All right, here we go. A nice move here, developing with a threat. Queen to d7. Quick question, what does this move do? It looks like a simple move that just brings the queen off the back rank to connect the rooks. Remember, every move has a plan. Can you see what Black's idea is here? Hopefully you found it. Here the idea is very simple. We want to go ahead and play something like pawn to b4, which is going to kick the knight away. And maybe the queen and bishop are working together to do a nice little attack against the queen here. Mind you, this might not happen right away, but this is still a very nice idea for Nimzowitsch to play. Alright, white to move. White keeps making these little subtle moves. King h2, h3, king h2. It's not a wonder why white gets into a bad position so badly. Here, very nice move by Nimzowitsch. He's going to go ahead and expand on the king side. Can you see the move? Hopefully you found it. Knight to h5. Well, the idea of knight h5 is not only to attack the bishop, but also to expand on the king side. Obviously, white does not want to lose the bishop, so bishop to d2 is played. And hopefully you found the full idea. I'll give you half a point if you found knight h5, but you have to find the full idea. The real idea is to go f5, pushing here on the king side. Most of the time it is going to be a bad idea to give yourself a backwards pawn, but here we see quite nicely that black has very nice expansion ideas, looking ideas about pawn to f4, and again just grabbing more pressure on the king side. Alright, white goes ahead and plays this interesting move. Queen to d1, a nice tactical idea. Do you see it? Here we see the knight is undefended, so white has ideas about playing something like pawn to e4, and either taking on d5 or f5. Because white has so less space in the game, you want to make some trades here to open up your pieces. Right now, your bishops are just being restricted by the pawn structure. Oof. Poor white in the pieces. Alright, black to move, keep expanding. Here we get that nice move of pawn to b4. Where's the knight move? Nowhere good. The best place is to go backwards. You know that's bad whenever your pieces have to start retreating in the middle game. Alright, next move here. Let's keep making threats. I like this move by Nimzowitsch. Bishop to b5. We know that white wants to go ahead and move the pawn, so a nice little pin here, and also attacking the rook. Okay, not a strange move. Rook to g1 gets played. I wonder why that was done. Of course, again, we want to play this e4 move, but we don't want to lose the exchange with the bishop taking on f1. And now an amazing move here. Nimzowitsch has a great plan here. He goes ahead and plays bishop to d6. What's the idea? Well, maybe f4 in the future, opening up this diagonal and this file so we can attack this king. Wait a second. Wasn't white's idea to play pawn e4? It was, and he goes ahead and plays it. Now black to move and win. What is the best plan here for black? Oof. Remember, I do recommend that you push pause and try to find the move. Hopefully you found it though. Here, black has the amazing move, f takes on e4. Now remember, it's not about the pieces that get traded, it's the ones that are left on the board. And here, well, what'd you get for this pawn? The queen took on h5, but now all of black's pieces become active and all of white's pieces, well, they become as inactive as possible. After rook takes on f2, you can see that the rook has penetrated, and well, this queen really has no targets to attack. Again, this knight's bad, this rook is artificial. It does control an open file here, but there's no penetration points as black is controlling all the squares. This bishop over here is again restricted, no good squares to go to. This is, I think this is a bishop. It pretty much looks like a pawn to me as it can't really move anywhere. And this rook is again not doing too much here. Black's bishop's good, black's bishop's good, rook is at its best, and you can see that the queen and rook are going to be improved very shortly. Whenever they get improved, the game will be over. Alright, well, white tries to do their best. White goes ahead and plays queen to g5. Oof. Alright, let's keep developing, let's keep making threats. What does black play here? Let's get this last rook into the game. Rook a to f8 makes a lot of sense to me. And here, king h1 was played. Here, black did develop with the threat because they were threatening rook to f3. For instance, it's really hard to find a move here, guys, just because there's really no good squares to move to. But I'll go ahead and make like a move like rook to e1. Again, the idea here was to play rook to f3. And of course, the bishop cannot take because of the pin right here against it. And you see g3 will be falling very soon. And you can't even really try to give back the pawn as, well, anytime you're in a good position, tactics flow from a superior position, there's always going to be some good tactics here for black. Or the person has the better position. Alright, with that being said, he saw the idea. He's pretty much forced. He plays king to h1 here. And again, he just keeps pushing and pushing him back. Rook to f5. Oh my gosh, where does this queen go? Only one square. Queen to e3. All right, nice little move here. Again, white's just trying to do something here. I guess maybe the idea this time is going to be something like bishop to e1. A nice move here for black, just really squeezing this position. Bishop to d3. Oof. The idea now might be something like rook to e2, and go ahead and doubling the rook. You might ask yourself why he didn't go ahead and play rook e2 here. Well, if you do play rook e2 here right away, yeah, the queen can just go to b3. That's why Nimzowitsch did not want this to happen. Although, technically speaking, black is still winning here. Still winning in this variation too. That's why he goes ahead and restricts. He doesn't want the queen to go to b3. He went ahead and played bishop to d3. And again, white is just struggling here to find any move. White went ahead and played rook to b1, stopping the rook e2 threat. And now, Nimzowitsch plays the strongest move of the game. Black to move and win. What do you play here? Hopefully you found it. Nimzowitsch plays pawn to h6 and white resigns. No, this is not a joke. Why is this so strong? Right now, Nimzowitsch has basically declared it is ZUGZWANG. There is nothing for you to do. Anything you do is just going to help me keep improving my position. Look, we can't move the knight. We can't move the... I guess you can move your bishop back and forth, but this is only going to be losing because bishop c1, the bishop takes over here for the knight. Can we maybe move the rook over here to c1? No, you move the rook over here. Again, we're going to double up our rooks and everything goes bad. In fact, I think the queen's just trapped here. Can we move the bishop to f1? No, not if you want to just lose a piece. I can just take with the bishop, or I can take with the rook here. My choice. Can I move this rook? No, this rook can't be moved. And if you go something like king h2, yeah, there's just too many ways here for black to keep improving. Yeah, here we can just play something like e5 and just open up the position. Maybe you can play something like queen c7 in the future and really just break through on this g3 square. And of course, if we try to move any pawn, it's only going to last for a little while. a3, and black can just simply play pawn to a5. Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn to b3, and now look at this knight. It's just being trapped, and you're running out of moves here. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this game. This was a beautiful game by Nimzowitsch using the ZUGZWANG. Doesn't typically happen in the middle game, typically in our end games, but this is such a treasure because we get to see it in the middle game. I'll see you guys in the next video.